Hey guys, how are you? Welcome back to my channel. I was watching Julia Adams's video today and she was talking about revisiting favorites video, and she actually went to a video from 2018 and then one from a couple years ago, and she reviewed all of her favorites and said which ones were still her favorites and if she had replacements for the ones that were not in her collection or ones that she found better formulas of. And I was super inspired. I was watching that as I was doing my makeup today, and then I went for my ride or die makeup tag that was created by Jacqueline Hill 5 years ago, so August 17, 2016. A throwback video and bad lighting and whatnot, but I was talking about a lot of my favorite products, and I realized that most of them I don't use anymore. I have, I think, two that are still favorites, if I'm not mistaken, but most of them I don't even use anymore, or they're not that important to me or to my everyday makeup life. So if you want to see what I've replaced my ride or die makeup products that were ride or die for a long time for me, then just keep on watching. Okay, so this video was supposed to be the best makeup that you have in your collection, and in my opinion right now, ride or die is the products that never fail you, the ones that you can go to in your collection when you don't know what else to do, and they will without a doubt work for you. I think I did another video of this one. I will check both videos and then screenshot the products so that I know if they're comparable to the ones that I have here or if they have been completely replaced. The primer that I was talking about on the first video, weird to me because I thought it was the Professional by Benefit, since that's the first type of pore filling primer that I ever tried, and I've gone through multiples of them. I still carry it on my makeup artistry kit. And the one, it was the Dr. Brand's Pores No More, and for me, when I see back on that video footage, I look so makeup heavy and so loud on my makeup, and I said that on the other video that I did almost 3 years ago now. On my last video that I filmed, I said the Tatcha Silk Canvas primer was my favorite. I didn't repurchase that product. Don't see myself repurchasing it, and if I do, I know I will love it, I will use it, but it's still not my holy grail primer. I have the body primer from e.l.f. and it works similarly to that one, but my holy grail primer, it's the Laura Mercier blurring primer, and this is my poreless type of primer. And what I love about it is that it doesn't make me look super matte, it doesn't compete with my foundation, it doesn't make my makeup look heavy, and it doesn't make me more oily. And the consistency of this one is sort of a lotion. When you apply it to your face, if you have used it, you can feel that it's filling up your pores, but it doesn't feel quite as silicone or heavy as that one. This one is silicone free, by the way, so I wouldn't purchase again the Dr. Brand Pores No More. I don't like the scent of that one, even though I've repurchased it I think about 3 times. I still prefer the Professional over that one. I know I could purchase the Tatcha Silk Canvas primer, but I don't think I will. I would buy the liquid form to try it out, but this one, I have it, I have a backup. If Laura Mercier stopped sending me products after I try this, I would still repurchase this one. It lasts so much longer, it comes with way more product than those two, and it works better on my skin, and every single primer that I've tried from Laura Mercier has gone into my makeup artistry kit. And whether I love a brand or not, when I put something on my makeup artistry kit, it has to be loved by me, but it also has to be beautiful on every single one of my clients. Now for foundation, I mentioned that my two holy grails were the Too Faced Born This Way and the Estee Lauder Double Wear. They're still the main foundations on my makeup artistry kit, and I still want to add them to my personal kit, and they would still be holy grail. But my makeup preference has changed a bit. I prefer my makeup or my foundation to be lighter coverage for every day. And then on my second video, I mentioned the Giorgio Armani Face Fabric Second Skin mixed with a little bit of the Infallible Pro Matte by L'Oreal. I have the Giorgio Armani one still in my collection. I have that one, but I don't have the Infallible Pro Matte. That's basically a dupe in a way for the Estee Lauder Double Wear, but I wouldn't say those are my holy grail foundations. I prefer a foundation on its own without mixing that I would love, and I have two right here for my makeup preferences. So this one is the Stay Naked by Urban Decay. These I finished a bottle, and then this now was laying down, but this is basically half empty right now. I love this foundation. This is caught me by surprise. It's a foundation that I got on PR, and then I started using it and using it and using it, and then it was empty, and I had to have it again in my collection, and I again had it and kept using it and using it and using it. So it's one of those foundations that basically you have it and you don't know that it's your favorite. But with every foundation that I have in my collection that I love so much, and a lot of them that I don't love, this is the one that I reach for the most because I love the way it looks. This is a foundation that I would travel with, so it's a ride or die. If I don't know what else to wear that will work beautifully on my skin, this is the foundation that I use. If I'm gonna do makeup on my clients and I wanna have a foundation that's not too heavy but that will be long lasting on my skin, I use the Stay Naked. So it's a foundation that I tend to reach for. So this is definitely a ride or die. And then most of the times, but that depends on how I'm feeling, I go for lighter coverage. And for that, I go for any of my Laura Mercier tinted moisturizers. I have here the Light Revealer, which is my latest obsession. I've had tinted moisturizers from Laura Mercier for the past, I think, 3 years. And I use them and abuse them and then rotate them out and use them and abuse them and then use something else and then go back to them and go back to them, and I do that organically again. So yeah, this one is my latest obsession because it makes you look poreless. I have a review on it, but I would use any of my Laura Mercier tinted moisturizers because I use this with a concealer with a full coverage, or this one with a full coverage concealer, and then I will have the finish that I want depending on if I want a heavier coverage but this is still lightweight, or if I want sheer coverage and cover only the parts that I need to with my concealer. For concealer, I don't know in the second video, but on the first one I mentioned my NARS Radiant Creamy Concealer. That's still a favorite. That's still a product that I repurchased on my makeup artistry kit. It's still one concealer that I would love to have in my collection, but now my holy grail and the one that has replaced my NARS one on my personal use, and then also the Tarte Shape Tape, it's the hybrid. This one I love that it has a big doe foot applicator. It's similar to the NARS Radiant Creamy. It comes with way more products and it never fails me. So this is definitely my ride or die now. It's the Born This Way multi-use sculpting concealer, and I use mine in the shade Almond. So for powder, I had on the first video 2 powders, the La Mer translucent powder, which is a luminous powder, and then also as a pressed powder, the Charlotte Tilbury Airbrush Flawless Filter Powder. I still love those powders. I still have the La Mer one. I have never put it in a project pan. I never used it up. I treasure it so much. And then the Charlotte Tilbury, I love that powder. I have had it. I have shade number 2, which is too dark, and I'm about to finish it, but none of those are my ride or die powders. They're not the powders that I tend to go for when I don't know what to use. And then on my second video, I mentioned that I didn't know why I said that on my first video that Laura Mercier translucent powder wasn't my favorite at that moment, but I was complicated back then. I would use like 3 powders on my face. Now I sometimes do that, but most of the time I only use 1 powder for my entire face, like 3 years ago. And the Laura Mercier translucent powder, you see it on almost every single one of my empties videos, or at least every 3 months I have 1 or 2 empties of the Laura Mercier translucent powder. It's definitely my holy grail powder. Again, I said on that video that the Huda Beauty was one, but I have been using the Huda Beauty on myself these past few days and I love it, but again, not as much as my Laura Mercier translucent. And I actually have these on my makeup artistry kit. I purchased the deep to dark shade, and then they created Honey, and Honey is one of my most used powders on my makeup artistry kit. The regular translucent is definitely my favorite. I use it to bake, I use it to set my entire face, I use it for everything. I use it to reset my makeup throughout the day. I use it with the puff, I use it with a brush, I use it with a sponge. It never fails me. So I would highly recommend this powder if you have oily skin, because this is the only powder that makes my makeup last all day. So like I said, for the pressed powder, I still love the Charlotte Tilbury one, but I don't have it in the shade number 1, Fair, which is my shade. I've been using this one and it's an obsession of mine right now. I'm wearing it on my face today. This is the KVD Locket Powder Foundation in the shade Fair 115. And I saw Kristen Dominique using these on her under eyes, or just to make everything look seamless. First I thought that it wasn't going to work for me because the Locket foundation was a fail, but I decided to purchase it nonetheless, and I've been loving it so much. I've been using it today. I'm wearing it on my under eyes and just to sharpen my contour in a way and just to lighten a few places on my face, since my foundation doesn't quite match me as I would love it to match me. So yeah, this is a powder that I would highly recommend if you're looking for a pressed powder that makes you look beautiful, flawless, and that it doesn't look too heavy on the skin. This powder foundation, it's where it's at. So I don't know if it will become a ride or die, but I had to mention it as a color powder that I've been using lately. I have it on my everyday bag. It has been in my collection for about a month, and I've been just using it non-stop. For blush, on my first video, I said Warm Soul was my favorite blush, and I finished that completely. I loved it. I know they changed the formula. I never repurchased it, so that's just done and gone. And then on my second video, I showed what was the remainder of Warm Soul before I finished it. And then I said that my favorite blushes would be Madly by NARS, Luster by NARS, and then Orgasm, but mostly Luster and Madly. Madly, I'm about to finish it. You guys know they discontinued it. I recently found one and purchased it, so it's completely brand new in my collection. I still love this blush. I still wish that they will bring it back from NARS. Now I love a nude blush so much, and it's just something that I don't want to change. I recently repurchased Orgasm, which is another one that I finished completely from my collection. So I actually said that I prefer Luster and Madly, but I actually finished Madly and Orgasm and Warm Soul. So I have two more blushes right here that I love and that have been holy grail. This is the one that I've used the most for the past few years, and this is Laura Mercier Blush Color Infusion in the shade Chai. You have seen these on my channel a ton, and this has a big dip in it. I don't see myself hitting pan in a ton of blushes because blushes, for me, I have so many and I love to rotate them. But this one and Wild Honey from Becca, I've used so much for the past 3 years. And then one that I purchased about 2 years ago, which I love a lot. And that when I first purchased it, I couldn't see myself putting it down, and then I tend to go back to it. It's MAC Mineralized Blush in the shade Lovejoy, and you can see that now my taste has changed a bit. Now I prefer more nude blushes overall. Chai by Laura Mercier, Lovejoy by MAC, and then of course Madly by NARS are my favorite. For bronzer, I mentioned my 3 Holy Grail bronzers, which are still Holy Grail, but I have 2 now that I use more and that I prefer for different reasons. I still love Laguna, the Hula bronzer, which I don't have it. I finished the travel size and I have it on a palette that I use on my makeup artistry kit almost every time I'm doing my client's makeup. I mentioned the Too Faced one, which I have, but I haven't finished, and I don't tend to reach for it that much, but I know that those are trustworthy formulas. I have 2 bronzers here that, even though I have a lot of bronzers in my collection, these are the bronzers that I tend to reach for. And this one, it's Laura Mercier Bronze 02, and you can see that this is a dome shape product and it's completely flat. So that's how much I've used it, and I love that this is a sheer type of bronzer that you don't mess up. And I started going crazy over this because I saw Stephanie Lita talking about it. I'm obsessed with it still. I love it. I know that if I finish it, I will repurchase it. This is just Holy Grail status for me. And they sort of blend like the Hourglass bronzers, in my opinion, but they have just one shade. They're not as shimmery or luminous as the Hourglass ones, so I prefer them more. I would love for them to change the packaging, but I love the formula. And these are the Matte Radiance Baked Bronzer. I have one in the shade 02, which is my favorite, but I also have 03. And this one, which I almost never find anywhere, but I know that you can still find it at Nordstrom or the Laura Mercier website. You guys, the pan on this one, it's crazy. I adore this bronzer. This has surpassed every other bronzer because this is foolproof. Every other bronzer that I love, even the Hula bronzer, the Too Faced one is more similar to this one than the Hula one, or even the Laguna one. Those can be too pigmented. This is perfect for me. This is the matte bronzing powder in the shade Soleil 1 by Laura Mercier, and I've been expanding the pan recently. Even with the new bronzers that have come into my life, I love these, and I love also to have these on my kits. I wish they would have it in different shades so that I would buy all the shades and put it on my makeup artistry kit. The formula is that good. And I don't know if I mentioned this on any one of my videos. I don't think I did, But the Sweet Tea Bronzer by Too Faced is still holy grail when I want something more on the luminous side. And this formula is foolproof. I would change the packaging, but this is, again, beautiful, beautiful bronzer. It's so funny, you guys, that when you love something, you're so honest about it, right? Because the lipstick of my first video was Enchanted One, and it was a limited edition lipstick from MAC. I love that lipstick. It's still, if they would have it, I would still keep purchasing it. It's my favorite shade that I've ever had in my collection. I purchased Jash, Honey Love, and Peach Stock from MAC, and I love them. I recently repurchased Jash and Honey Love, and I adore those MAC formulas. I have them on my Makeup Artistry kit, but I wanted to have them again, and I've been obsessed with them. And I love them a lot, but my holy grail, and I said the same thing on my last video, on the one 3 years ago, is Cherish by MAC. And before I started filming this video, I actually, all of the MAC lipsticks, and I said, but my favorite is still Cherish, and you can see it right here. This is all I have left. This is a beautiful lipstick. It's a satin formula. Before I would prefer the matte one, but this is just one of those lipsticks that works with anything and it looks hydrating on the lips, and I would definitely repurchase. It wasn't the one that I was wearing, but that's my other holy grail, but I'm obsessed with this lipstick. It's one of my favorite nudes from MAC ever made. And I discovered that because I removed all of the other shades, matte shades from my collection that were my favorite, and put them on my Makeup Artistry kit, and then I was left with a few nudes, and when I tried this, I couldn't stop using it, and it's still my holy grail. And then this is a newer one, but I know it's holy grail. It's the one that I was wearing before I applied Cherish on top, and this is the Charlotte Tilbury JK Magic, and I've been drooling over this color for ages. I'm gonna swatch it right here. This is so pretty. I think it's super similar to Cherish now that I'm looking at it. Cherish has more peach to it, and then JK Magic has a little bit more pink, but they're super similar, and I love them both so much. The formula feels the same, so this is more of a satin formula, the JK Magic, and then Cherish is a satin by MAC. So two holy grail lipsticks, and one is a new one, and then the other one I'm repeating myself from my last video. And then I'm also seeing this video mentioning the Camila Coelho lipstick, and I love that. It was holy grail. I have only a little bit left. Still have it in my collection. I wish it was a permanent shade, but it wasn't. Can't get it anymore. But I actually love the Lancome cream formula. If you can find a perfect nude on that, that's beautiful. Just for the sake of the video, I swatched Last Minute from Lancome, and it's this one right here. And they're different. This has more coral to it, or more peach to it. Then this is more on the nude side, and this is more pink. But I love them all. So they're just beautiful. And the packaging of the Lancome ones is just perfection. Then I mentioned that from time to time I love to use a cream bronzer, and I mentioned my Milk bronzer. That one expired, and I actually showed it on my last empties video. It stopped being my favorite. I don't know why, just stopped being a favorite. I love the formula, but I just never reached for it anymore. And this one I've had for the past 2 years. This is Bondi Bay by Nude Sticks, and oh my goodness, you guys, this is just one of my favorite products. I reach for it constantly. It's all I have left, and this is just so beautiful. And the formula, it's easier to work with than the Milk makeup one, and it blends like a dream. I love all of the shades. I would love to have them on my Makeup Artistry kit. Since having this one, I have about 3 more shades for blushes, different ones, and all of them I love so much. So yeah, Bondi Bay is a ride or die, my ride or die when it comes to cream bronzer. For gloss, I mentioned on my first video NARS Chihuahua, but the Fenty Beauty glosses are my favorite glosses. As soon as I tried the Fenty Gloss Bomb, the first one that they released, I fell in love with. Now I have Fuzzy and Milk Diamond. I would still buy the first one. This gloss formula is just perfection. I'm gonna apply a little bit so you guys can see. This is like a lip injection type of vibe when it comes to lip gloss. So yeah, this is holy grail, and it has been holy grail for years. Since it was released, it has been a holy grail. And then to finish with the lips, this is a product that I go back to over and over, and it was my favorite on the first video. Then another shade of the same formula was my favorite on the second video, and this is the Makeup Forever Aqua Lip in the shade 3C. I repurchased this, is I think like my fifth, and I love this. For me, it's this lip liner right here. And on my second video I mentioned that I preferred the shade 1Z and 2Z, and I finished those and I would have them in my collection, but 3C, it's my favorite again. So this formula has been a favorite. It doesn't matter how many lip liner formulas I've tried. I've tried Charlotte Tilbury, MAC, and every single one of them is a hassle for me to finish them, but this one is not. It's just one that if I finish one, I will buy two to have a backup, because I know I will use them and I know I will love them. Right now I wouldn't have a backup of 3C, but I would buy 1C, 2C, and 3C as soon as I finish 3C, and it would be the only lip liners that I would keep in my collection. Okay, so this is super funny. On the first video I talked about Becca Opal, and that's still a favorite highlighter. But when I was looking at my highlighter drawer, I thought I don't have any Holy Grail highlighters that are still permanent. And then it was funny because I wasn't going to talk about the second video. When I was looking for the first one, I found the second video and I decided last minute that I was gonna mention it throughout the video, and I'm watching it while I'm filming, right? Because I didn't listed the products on the description box of the video. I decided that I was gonna pick this one up for today's video, even if it's discontinued, because I had to be honest, this is the only highlighter that when I don't know what highlighters to use, I will go back to this one. And when I'm watching this video, I'm talking there about the NARS formula of highlighter. I have one of the singles in For de France, and that's beautiful, but none of the formulas that I've tried from NARS are similar or are the same as the Banque de Sable highlighting palette. This was phenomenal. I actually recently hit pan in the second shade, which is my favorite. The way this blends into the skin is just beautiful. I don't have any other highlighters that I consider to be ride or die except for this one and the Burberry highlighters. So as I keep watching the video, I of course mentioned the Burberry highlighters like I just said, and then also I mentioned the Fussy Lip Gloss by Fenty. So again, favorites are favorites, and no matter how many years have passed and how many products have come into my life, I still have the ride or die products stay the same, most of them. To buff my makeup, I didn't have anything on that first video, and then I mentioned on my second video, and this is still true, the ambient lighting powders. I don't have Radiant Light right now. I have it on my makeup artistry kit. This is Mood Light and I like it, but I prefer Radiant Light. I would highly recommend that powder if you haven't buffed your makeup before. That's still Holy Grail, and it's a product that I will keep repurchasing and repurchasing and repurchasing. It's just perfect. I finish one and I buy another one. And then on the first video, I mentioned Fix Plus, and I recently repurchased Fix Plus in the coconut scent. And I said that Fix Plus was the one that I would use to buff my makeup. And recently, I've been using it again to buff my makeup. It was actually the way that I buffed my makeup today, just applying Fix Plus after I finish everything. And I love it. So yeah, I still prefer Radiant Light. It's more trustworthy, it's more foolproof, but I love Fix Plus by MAC. It's just perfection. For mascara, on my first video, I mentioned the L'Oreal Voluminous Carbon Black. That's still the one that I use on my makeup artistry kit. It's drugstore, it's fine. I repurchased it a few months ago and used it on myself and didn't love it. Then on the second video, I mentioned the Lancome Hypnose Drama that I didn't have at that point because I was in my no by year. But now, Holy Grail, it's either the Laura Mercier Caviar Mascara, which is one that I finished today. I think I have the empty bottle someplace right here because I used it today for the last time. It's already done and gone. But I love the Lancome Monsieur Big. So I would have to say the Lancome mascaras that I have tried, they have been Holy Grails. But then any other mascara that I use, if I use it with the Voluminous Base by L'Oreal, this is a Holy Grail one that I've purchased and repurchased for years. I sometimes stop purchasing it and then I recently went back to it and I know why. It's just phenomenal. So I really love this one. It makes a lot of mascaras that are flaky Holy Grail status for me. For lips, I also mentioned on my second video, the Le Rouge Perfecto by Givenchy. That's still holy grail. I have one that was my last backup. They discontinued this one since, and I know that they changed the name, but they still carry it. It's now called the Le Rose Perfecto, and it has gone viral. They have it in a couple shades, milky nude, and whatnot. I wanna purchase it in different shades because this is definitely holy grail for me. Now I've been obsessed also with the Chantecaille Beach Rose, and I always reach for this when I'm going out the door. This is so beautiful. I will swatch them so that you guys can see the difference. They're both super lightweight on the lips, and they look so beautiful. Just make you look more awake. The Le Rouge Perfecto changes with your pH, so this is Le Rouge Perfecto, which looks more sheer, and then this is Beach Rose by Chantecaille. And then one lip product that it's again ride or die instead of the one that I mentioned on my first video, which was the Jeffree Star Celebrity Skin, is the Kevyn Aucoin Unforgettable Lipstick cream formula in the shade Telmadora. So this one, you can see it right next to the other ones that I swatched before, and it's this one right here. It looks a lot like JK Magic, which is the first one that I have right here. This formula is perfect. I think I would dare to say that it's even more beautiful than the Charlotte Tilbury and the MAC one. I love it. I wish they would have more nude shades, but it's just a beautiful formula. And then my computer is about to die, so I want to mention a few other holy grails that I didn't mention on any of these videos. You will never come into my collection and not see these. I will always repurchase the Rimmel Scandalized eyeliners in the shade Black, 001 Black and 005 Nude. I keep them at all times in my collection. Palettes, and I have to just go for it, are my Natasha Denona eyeshadow palettes. I have, I think, every single eyeshadow palette that she has released except for the minis. Do my makeup almost every single day with Natasha Denona shadows. And then a cream eyeshadow that I actually recently finished one of them, and I love them, but this shade in particular is my ride or die, is the Laura Mercier Caviar Stick in the shade Cocoa. I love this. When I don't know what to do, I will use this as a smoky eye, as a liner, and I have recommended these to everyone on my family. So yeah, this is a ride or die, and you will never catch me without it. So that's it for this video, you guys. Let me know if you have replaced your holy grails. Let me know if you have done the ride or die tag, revamp it, or if you have done a new edition of it. Don't forget to leave a lipstick below as an emoji if you watched the entire video. Don't forget to subscribe and give this video a thumbs up if you haven't already. And I love you guys. I guess I'll see you on the next one. Bye bye.